Hey guys, Steve here from Bloom Audio. Today we've got the KANN Max from Astell&Kern. So KANN Max is the latest in Astell&Kern's KANN series of powerhouse digital audio players. They're designed to have a ton of power, and they hit at a little bit of a lower price point than some of Astell&Kern's higher end models. So if you've talked to me about DAPs before, you probably know the KANN Alpha was one of my favorites. We used it really all the time as a reference in the office, just for checking out new gear, especially IEMs. The Max comes with more power in the amp circuit, a new quad ESS DAC, and UI updates that match some of the latest from Astell&Kern. So with all that in mind, does this make KANN Max the new pinnacle of this KANN series? Let's take a closer look. You can always count on Astell&Kern to give you a nice looking box with just a solid presentation all around. So this is the KANN Max, standard back of the box information in a number of different languages, all of that. So let's open this up. So you slide out the sleeve and you get this box. The lid comes off. And under here, there's just some extra stuff, screen protectors and that sort of thing, warranty card, quick start guide, and all of that. That back, take this off, and we get the unit itself. Now I've already opened this, so this isn't a true unboxing experience here. Very snugly and well protected in there. We'll take a look at that in just a second. And we pop this out. This is kind of the last piece. So there's a charge cable in here, USB-C. You can use that for charge or data. It's A to C. And now they actually give you a backup for the SD card, port blocker, essentially, the protector. So they give you this little space here with one of those, which I just thought was a really cool touch when I was like, what is this? Oh, that's so cool. So now when we look at the KANN Max itself, it's a little brick of a unit. It's not that big. It is very thick though. Very angular. You can kind of cut yourselves on these, but it does feel nice in the hand. The big thing with Astell&Kern devices are these wheels. They just always have this really satisfying click to them. And it goes the same with the buttons. They're typically just that very satisfying tactile feel. It's always very well done. Now, in terms of the headphone outputs, let's switch this around so we're looking at it right. So you get a 2.5, a 4.4, and a 3.5. You can see the power button is on the top of the unit as well. And then on the bottom, we get the USB-C port on there, as well as the micro SD slot. So you can see it comes with this little protector. And you get an extra one of those and a little thing to hold that in the box when you put your actual micro SD card in there. So just again, really solid build, really nice looking unit, just fantastic feel to it. Astell&Kern always knocks these out of the park, and they did it again with the KANN Max. The interface on KANN Max is very much designed, like most A&K devices, to be a player first, dedicated to playing your existing collection of music, and operate for streaming services second. So when you log in, the first thing that you're going to see is the player screen itself. You can go in here and look through your music collection. If you use Astell&Kern's CD Ripper app, you can see your CD library as well. And then there's the option to look at services. So services enables you to use various apps. So there's the V-Link and Tidal that are embedded on the device. This isn't the full version of Tidal, but you can download the full version of Tidal over here. So if you look through here, you can download and install different apps. I've already downloaded Tidal, so I'll go ahead and install that now. Again, I should note I'm a guitar player. My fingers have a lot of calluses, and touchscreens aren't very responsive to me, even if they are very responsive touchscreens. So every now and then a missed hit is not the fault of the KANN Alpha, it's the fault of my own fingers, or the KANN Max, excuse me. So once the app is done installing, it'll show here in your menu. Since I'm not currently logged into Tidal, we'll go into Qobuz just to get a quick look at the app performance. So you can see it's pretty smooth operation and responsive here, moving through the different options, all of that. And of course, there's an on-screen keyboard that pops up for typing. But yeah, the performance here, this is always, each model seems to be a step up. And they did add the quad-core CPU into the KANN Max, which is a step up in improvement over previous versions of the KANN. So you can back out of there. If we pull down from the top, you can see a number of device settings, ranging from the Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, your amp gain, settings for USB, using it as a disk or a DAC, or connecting to an external device, and also things like AK Connect and replay gain, as well as your EQ and crossfeed settings. If you go into the settings menu, that's where you get sort of the full power of all the different settings and options here that you can use. But it is a powerful device, and it does have a lot of features. I think overall, the streaming service features have been improved from previous models. The speed and responsiveness of the device has also been improved. While it's still designed first as a player, and I think second as for use with streaming apps, the experience has gotten very strong for those who are looking for something to download streaming apps and use that for listening to music with. So far, the basics of KANN Max are about what we expected. Some updates to the look and feel of the unit, general improvements and upgrades in the power and performance, and the UI changes that basically make it a little bit more friendly if you're using music streaming services, while still staying inside of Astell&Kern's walled garden. So, how does it sound? KANN Max has a similar sound signature to previous entries in the KANN series, which always tended to be a little bit more of a neutral, more of a reference sound. But I think this quad DAC design they're using, it's just cleaner and more transparent and more spacious than previous entries. And it really, I think, bumps the sound quality of KANN Max up a bit and makes it more competitive with some of the more higher priced digital audio players. The bass is very articulate while also being deep and powerful. It feels like there's just a little bit of extra punch in there that gives you that slam with like a bass drum, while also giving you that sense of pluck with a bass, and just really great performance overall that's both powerful without being muddy. In the mid-range, you get great detail and layering, natural timbre with acoustic instruments like guitar and piano, and good positioning and feel in the vocals as well. The treble gives you good definition and some air while also having a sense of smoothness to it. And this is something that is very much Astell&Kern that I felt the KANN Alpha was missing, but the KANN Max delivers in the way they execute treble, really well balancing those almost disparate things between the air at the top and a little bit of sparkle and also being smooth, though I don't think it has quite the same resolution as some of the higher end players from A&K. As I mentioned, there's a good sense of space and the spatial features are well executed. The soundstage is wide, maybe a little wider than it is deep, not as round as it could be. but the separation and imaging, the positioning is very strong with that. And I think that also provides an improvement over KANN Alpha. The thing that really sets KANN Max apart is the power. Now that is what the KANN series is all about, but it's not just that you get a ton of power with this, it's that it's great execution across the board, both in the max gain mode and in the low gain mode. You know, at max gain, you've got 15 volts balanced, 8 volts unbalanced. That's more single-ended than a lot of units are giving you balanced. Most that I'm aware of, actually. So there's that end of it. But so with a planar magnetic headphone, with an Ario, with an LCDX, even an LCD5, even a Susvara, you're getting performance out of this that's really just above almost anything else you're getting in a portable unit. On the other side, when you're using more sensitive headphones or IEMs like a Campfire Andromeda or an ESR that are very sensitive and very prone to hiss, you're getting this pitch black background on the low end that really just demonstrates how well it does at both ends. And I think that's a real strength here of the technical performance of the KANN Max, is how well it can handle both the top and the bottom range of headphones and IEMs almost effortlessly. If you're in the market for a digital audio player right now looking to spend, somewhere in the $1,000 to $1,500 range, KANN Max and the DX320 from iBasso probably going to be somewhere in your hunt there. Now, these are interesting because in a lot of ways you end up with pretty close to the same thing, but in so many ways the design and philosophy behind them are just really different. So in terms of the sound signature, both lean towards a neutral reference sound with just a little bit of musicality added in there. In the bass, I feel like the KANN Max has just a little bit of extra presence there, while DX320 is more truly linear in the low end. In the imaging, the DX320 feels a little stronger with a more truly three-dimensional feel, whereas I mentioned Max is wide but maybe not quite as deep. And there's just a stronger sense of separation and positioning with the DX320 as well. The treble I find is a little bit similar. There might be a little more resolution coming out of the DX320, but they're very close overall. And they're the sort of differences that I think you're going to sit down side by side to really hear that strong difference there. What a lot of it's going to come down to are just those core aspects of the philosophy in the build, in the design, and in the UI. So in terms of power, KANN Max has a lot more. As we were just talking about, in that super gain mode, the 8-volt single-ended power is more than most units give you in balanced. And DX320 is an example of that, which gives you 7.1 volts VRMS in the balanced output at high gain, as opposed to the 15 you're getting out of KANN Max. So there's a big difference there, and it really shows, I think, in the dynamics on those harder to drive headphones if you're looking to use something like that portably. Now, I will say, in terms of the actual volume, the way the KANN Max is sort of balanced, the volume was pretty close between the two. But at those very high volumes, the DX320 just feels a little more, I almost want to say, choked out, where the sound stage starts compressing a little bit and you get some distortion in there, just not as clean as the KANN Max is at high volumes, even if the raw volume from the DX320 feels about the same. Now, on the other side of that, with IEMs, these are both great, balanced, unbalanced. Both of these are really giving you a stunningly low noise floor and a black background with that. When it comes to the build, I think KANN Max, generally in terms of just the feel, the clickiness on the wheel, the way the buttons are, KANN Max has definitely an edge just in that general quality feel. But when you go into aspects like the UI, DX320 has the edge. You can kind of see just from here in my hands how much bigger the screen is here. It's also a lot more responsive. DX320 is just going to feel faster, particularly, you load up a streaming app and that sort of thing. DX320 really feels like a top-of-the-line smartphone. KANN Alpha, or KANN Max, excuse me, feels good. It doesn't feel as fast and responsive there. So this is going to come into a lot of what you're looking for. If you want the sort of latest and greatest in UI performance, the big screen and all of that, the freedom to install whatever app you want on there, in addition to standard music streaming services, the DX320 definitely has the edge there. If you want that sort of attention to detail and design, you're okay with this sort of walled garden because of what the garden can be if you wall it off. And just those other aspects like the power with harder to drive headphones, KANN Max definitely has a strong edge there. And these are both great devices that I think are going to be perfect for somebody with slightly different expectations of what they're getting out of their player. KANN Max is a clear evolution in the KANN lineup. It's the sleekest feeling to date and has incredible sound quality, very neutral, detailed sound with just a touch of smoothness in it. Along with that, you get incredible performance with both very hard to drive headphones and sensitive IEMs. So you put this all together with a sound that really is a step up, and KANN Max is one of the best Astell&Kern experiences we've gotten to date.